Andrea Jordan Fields, the Black Community Initiative Coordinator for the University of Denver. It is absolutely a pleasure and an honor to be here with you in spite and as we face the dual pandemic, medical and humanitarian. This event was started with the Black Community Initiative and the Black Community Advisory Board. One of our cohorts, who's the leader of the social affairs, is Dr. Houston, who I thought would be already up here with me. This woman got a new job and kept working with us, even though her job is now in Virginia, and so I really appreciate her. And she's going to share with you a little bit about the mission of the Black Community Advisory Board.
Hello, everyone. What a beautiful and momentous occasion, and also a call to action. And today, I'm just going to share with you our mission for the Black Community Advisory Board. The mission of the Black Community Advisory Board is to establish an engaged Black community, inspire Black excellence, and promote the contributions of Black students, faculty, staff, and alumni at the University of Denver. Honoring the unique history of the Black experience, we strive to ensure Black students, faculty, staff, and alumni are respected, welcomed, equitably included, supported in actions that enhance learning, innovation, and well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Houston. So this evening, our MC, Gloria Neal, will lead us on this historical journey. Ms. Neal currently serves as Director of Public Affairs in the Mayor's Office, as well as the host of the Every Women's Health podcast in a collaboration with UC Health. As Director of Public Affairs, she has over 35 years of uniquely blended experiences with the community, media, and government. Her involvement and her advising in DEI issues also happens at the Mayor's Office. Ms. Neal is a familiar face to all of us and a familiar voice in Colorado through her experiences of radio and television, from KCNC Denver to CBS affiliate WGCL in Atlanta, Georgia. Please help me welcome Ms. Gloria Neal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Y'all are real quiet. Good afternoon. There you go. How is everybody doing? Good? A day on, not a day off? Yeah, you're like, what does that mean exactly? What it means is we give thanks for the honor of those who've gone before us, for doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Agreed? Absolutely. Let's give a round of applause to all of those who have come before us to even make this day possible. From the local leaders, we're talking Wellington Webb, the Honorable Wilma Webb. You talk about the mayor of Denver currently right now, Mayor Hancock, so many individuals, white, Black, LGBTQ, across the diaspora who have worked, who have really worked very hard to make it equal, not just to make progress, but we'll talk about the word progress a little bit later on. So, in the tradition of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we will begin with an invocation by Reverend Dr. Valerie Jackson. She is the Congregational Resource Minister for the Mile High Metro District of the United Methodist Church and the Senior Pastor of Cameron United Methodist Church. Let's welcome her.
Good evening. Before I begin, I have a request. As I pray in the language of my Christ-centered faith and the community of Cameron United Methodist Church in Platt Park, I invite you to remember our families, our colleagues, and our friends of all faiths and hold them in your hearts and your minds. Amen. Let us pray. Eternal and all-wise God, our years are still weary. Our tears are still flowing silently and loud. Yet we come with joy to this inaugural celebration of the life and legacies of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We come with a joy that is grounded in eschatological hope, for we still believe that we shall overcome. So, Holy Spirit of God, divine source of life, we acknowledge and welcome your presence in this sacred space, and we are deeply grateful for this day. Fall afresh upon each and every one of us, blessing us with continuing courage and strength to persevere, that we may reach the fullness of truth, liberation, and the security of justice. Let us all say together, Amen, our women, Ashe, Namaste, Shalom.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jackson. Next, we are going to begin singing the Negro National Anthem. That's Lift Every Voice and Sing. And yes, we will sing all three chapters, all three verses, I should say, all three. Okay, so do not worry. You have a program, and if you don't have a program, they will also be featured on the screen here behind me. So, in unison, we will sound like a phenomenal choir, me included, okay? So, the Martin Luther King Early College Choir is going to be leading us in that, and they're going to be accompanied by Professor M. Roger Holland II from the Lamont School of Music. Yes, and I will ask you to stand. So as they come and get situated on the stage, if you could all please stand so we can prepare to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Absolutely. Y'all can do better than that. Come on. Give him some love. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Oh, if you were going to do another one, we were going to take it. Thank you. Thank them one more time. Thank you. Now, I would like to read an excerpt from Dr. King's famous I Have a Dream speech. So, the good news is, just so you know, it will not be that excerpt you hear over and over on this day every year on his birthday, that you hear on the news, on programs, that I have a dream. Nothing wrong with it, but he said so much more. Quote, "In a sense, we have come to the Capitol to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, black men and white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But it is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check that has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity in this nation. So we have come to cash this check, a check that will give us the riches of freedom and the security of justice." End quote. And that is our theme this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who is in attendance, the theme is the security of justice. At this time, I would like to introduce the Chancellor of the University of Denver, Chancellor Jeremy Haefner. Please come up, Chancellor, and welcome him as he makes his way to the stage. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It is absolutely an honor and a real privilege to be here with you. Welcome to the Martin Luther King celebration at the University of Denver. Coming together as a community to celebrate Dr. King and his legacy is a joy and an honor, and we look forward to continuing this tradition each year. First, I would like to thank Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Early College Choir and the Reverend Dr. Valerie Jackson for kicking us off so ably. I'd like to also welcome all of you who are joining us in person or virtually. It is an honor that you have chosen to join us from across Denver, and so welcome to the University of Denver. Today, we are honored to have so many esteemed guests and speakers, performers, and musicians with us. I thank them for sharing their wisdom and their talents with us. And finally, thank you to the many, many individuals whose vision, energy, and planning made this event possible. To the Division of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, in partnership with DU's Black Community Initiatives, as well as the local partners here in Denver community, we are grateful for your work. Now, we're here today to celebrate an exceptional man and the indelible mark that he has made on this country and the world. We're also here to reaffirm our commitment to his beautiful vision of an equitable and just world for all. And yet, we know we have not achieved his dream. But we continue steadfast, calling for and working closer toward it. At DU, we are currently pursuing goals of our bold Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Action Plan because we know as an institution we can do better, we can be better. It's my hope that we as a community and as individuals leave today's event re-energized in our efforts and commitments to forever ensure equity and protect justice. One last thing. This month marks the 50th anniversary of Aretha Franklin's live recording of Amazing Grace at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. The Reverend James Cleveland and the Southern California Community Choir accompanied Franklin in her performance. If you've heard it, you know that this live recording became a tremendous success, not just as a gospel song, but as a pinnacle in many respects of Aretha Franklin's wonderful career. Amazing Grace is attributed to John Newton, an English slave trader who turned abolitionist in the late 1700s. And that gives context for that very famous line in that first stanza, "Was blind, but now I see." The song became an integral part of the U.S. civil rights movement in the 1960s, and it was sung at many Martin Luther King Jr.'s rallies. It's been rumored to have been sung by the protesters and supporters who came to King's burning home after the bombing of his house in January of 1956. So it seems fitting then to close with the words from the first stanza of the Amazing Grace. I'm just going to say it along with me if you so choose. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. May the events of today and our work ongoing help the blind see again. Thank you.
Excellent, very nice. Yes. Absolutely. That is beautiful indeed, Amazing Grace. How many folks have sung that in church, or maybe even when you wasn't in church? Okay, ooh, right, okay. I see some people waving their hand. I'm like, look, that's awesome. Let me just put it this way, as my mom used to tell me when I was much younger, if you ain't singing it, you will be singing before it's over with. It's all good, though. It's all good, understanding where it came from. Next, I want to introduce somebody who, I'm sure you will just get just a hoot out of listening to. Good friend of mine, but he is also the commissioner of the MLK Jr. Colorado Holiday, and that would be Dr. Vern Howard. Please come up. Let's welcome him to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, please. You have had a busy day. It's been a full day. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to first give honor to the Honorable Wilma J. and Wellington E. Webb, who actually started the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission. We wouldn't have the events that we have today in Colorado, including the myriad that we just left from, if it weren't for them. Let's give them a hand. To the Chancellor and all of the other wonderful folks on the program today, I'd like to welcome DU to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission family. And as we stand here, you know, Chancellor, I was listening to you just now, and you kind of stole my thunder. See, it was January 30th of 1956 when Dr. King's home was bombed. And Dr. King was delivering a speech at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. And when he rushed home, this angry mob followed him. And when they followed him, Dr. King shared with me, he says, no, 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 no. They had axes and pipes and bats and shotguns and machetes and any other form of weapon that they could find because they wanted to exact justice. What they saw would have been justice. And Dr. King said, no, that's not how we do it. We will do this peacefully. Understand that it was Howard Thurman and Mahatma Gandhi that Dr. King took his nonviolent stance and approach from. And Dr. King had written in his very first book, Strives Toward Freedom, that if we do this peacefully, then historians will have to write that there lived a people, a majestic people, that instilled a new level of consciousness into a nation. With that, I say, ladies and gentlemen, that when we came up with the theme, the security of justice, and when we think about everything that Dr. King lived and died for, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission is proud to announce that we have partnered with McGraw-Hill, and we have a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. nonviolent social protest curriculum that we are introducing for 9th through 12th graders. How about that? This curriculum has already been adopted in Georgia and Tennessee. Ironically, the place of Dr. King's birth and the place of his death. And we have received so much positive feedback on this curriculum because everybody, it's not black, it's not white, it's not Asian, it's a universal correct curriculum that anybody can do. And ladies and gentlemen, one more thing that we want to make sure that we talk about when we talk about security of justice, and that is the Voting Rights Act. George Bush, go ahead. George Bush I signed legislation giving an extension to the Voting Rights Act for 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, why do we need to have an extension on voting rights? We live in a democracy, am I correct? I can't hear you. Do we live in a democracy? All right, in a democracy, that means you have a voice. And when you think about it, when people ask why is voting so important, think about it. If it wasn't, they wouldn't be trying to take it from you. Okay? So with that, we urge you to get with your elected officials and let them know that those 47 senators in Washington, D.C. that refuse to give voting rights and make it possible all the time, let them know when you go to the ballot box, you hired them so you can fire them. That's true security of justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Hired them and fired them. You know, one of the things that you will come to know before this program is over. So this is the MLK Day celebration, which means it's everything but the collection plate. Okay? So I am used to people talking back. I'm used to people saying amen. I'm used to people clapping, even when they have on ball gowns. I am even used to the piano, honey hush. So I do not want inhibitions. I want you all to celebrate what this man not only did, what he died for. It is extremely important to understand why we are all here, why it is important not just to vote, but to be involved. To be involved. It just can't happen on election day. You need to know what you are voting for. You need to know why you are voting, and you need to know the history of why it's so important and how quickly it can change back. So please recognize that. Recognize that. Please. Yes. Even you are welcome to play, brother. Please do that. So next, we have the Vice Chancellor of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That will be Christopher Witt, and Provost Mary Clark, who will address you first. So first, I will welcome Provost Clark to the microphone. Please welcome her.
I am honored and humbled to be with you here today. And as I was thinking about what I might say, my mind kept returning to the time when I moved to Montgomery, Alabama, right after law school. And I was drawn to Montgomery because of Dr. King's legacy and because of my interest in practicing civil rights law. But what I didn't understand at the time, and what I've come to understand very well since that time, is that civil rights law can be, and indeed must be, practiced in all corners of the United States, as the Black Lives Matter movement and as the events of recent years has demonstrated so amply. So I stand here today and I invite our students in the audience, especially our law students and our non-law students, to commit yourselves to honoring Dr. King's legacy by furthering civil rights in the United States, wherever your journeys post-DU might take you, whether to Montgomery like me or elsewhere. Our country and our society needs you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Vice Chancellor Dr. Christopher Witt. He is Vice Chancellor for our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion office here on campus, and also Professor of Political Science in the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Mary. Hello to everyone. It's a big pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure of mine just for us to have this event. This means so much. It means so much for us to be able to start a year really focused on these things, focused on the security of justice, focused on really building our foundation on justice. And we hope that this becomes a tradition here at DU, that we can start each calendar year seriously thinking about this work and taking a look back at the previous year to say, well, did we accept the charge? Did we do more? Did we get better in that time? I'd be remiss if I didn't send a big shout out and a big thank you to my colleague, Dr. Andriette Jordan Fields, as well as so many folks who are part of the Black Community Initiatives, partners across Denver, and so many people across DU who helped make this happen. When it came to this event, being here today, providing us with the music, the marketing, the thinking of bringing it together, there's so many people who had hands in this, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that we can continue to keep making this bigger and better as we move forward. I would say that we have to remember that when we talk about Dr. King, when we talk about his legacy, when we talk about all the people who were standing behind him to really make him the icon that we look at today, all the people who gave $1, all the people who got locked up, all the people who made whatever sacrifice they made during the time of the movement and since, we have to think about the fact, the reality, that when you're a truth teller, when you're fighting for justice, when you're fighting for real change, real lasting change, a lot of times that can be isolating. We have to remember that there are so many people with us today who are fighting for change, and they find themselves looking around and they're more and more isolated. And when we start to talk about that security of justice, when we talk about building our foundation on justice, we have to think about those folks, think about those truth tellers, and think about how we can collectively make them feel less isolated, make people feel supported, help people to feel seen. Sometimes we forget that at the age of 39, Dr. King was killed. We always make it seem like everyone loved him. He had been isolated. A lot of people had turned their backs on him. Organizations had turned their backs on him. He was a truth teller, and he faced that reality. But that doesn't mean that that has to be our reality with our truth tellers. So please, let's use this opportunity this year and the opportunities that we have in years to come to really be recharged, to feel that we've had a challenge to do more in supporting folks who are really fighting for justice and to be the folks ourselves in fighting for justice. So please, let us do better, let us show solidarity, and let us keep moving forward. Thank you so much for being here.
Excellent, excellent. That is very true. You know, I was a former journalist before I became the public affairs director for Mayor Hancock and his administration currently. And as a journalist, I was a news anchor down in Atlanta, Georgia for several years. And I got a chance to spend some time with Bernice King, who is the youngest child of the late Dr. Martin Luther King. And I will tell you, she had so many profound things to say, but to be in the presence of a lot of that history. One of the things that she said to me that I will never forget, she said, I'm amazed at all of these individuals today who use my father's words, but do not practice what he preached. And it is so very true. If you look at the state of the country today, it's a wonder some of us can get up out of bed, but if you understand what he and those like him and Rosa Parks and those like her went through, we have no excuse to not get out of bed. Because nobody's bombed our homes. If you have a home, if you have some place to live, you are grateful and thankful. And it is true that when you are a truth teller, you are all alone. I ain't telling you about what I heard, but here's what I will tell you. I'm telling you the things that I know because just like you, looking at this front row of all of these youthful, beautiful faces, we do the work so that y'all can pick up the mantle and do the work. Andy Young said this to me when I was in Atlanta. He said, we are tired. And while I am not tired, I know that I need help. And I look to you, we nurture. Dr. Jordan Fields put a lot of this together and brought a lot of it together and did the program, and I talked to her on the phone sometimes late into the evening. And I'm saying, okay, I need a nap. But at the same time, think about, as Andy Young told me, he said, we didn't worry about who got in front of the camera. He was the guy. We had people to pack lunches. We had people even to put feminine products in paper bags for those individuals who were going to get on the bus to ride, the Freedom Riders, people who were going to march. Everybody had a job. And you had your inner circle of people. And yes, there was some infighting, but here is the deal. And this is what he said. He said to me, there are individuals who know if we break apart, we all go down. Today, everybody's so free and everybody's forgotten the history. We can bicker and fight and squander opportunity that one day we will come back and regret that we did not take advantage of. So I recognize the importance of this day every single year, but most importantly, for those individuals who took time out to share with me who were much older than me, but the history, if you do not know it, you are doomed to repeat it. And so I share with these young folks, people who are, how do I get involved? You can't do everything, but you can do something to raise this tide and to move us along to equality. Amen? All right. You know, so many people talk about progress, and I alluded to this early on, but just making progress was not the goal. If you remember, it was about cashing that check. It was about equality. The marches were about equality. The message and the end game were all about equality. Anything less is a bad check. A lot of times when we hear young folks and people who are in it now, I am amazed that I have one young individual who came up to me, actually my niece, let me just put her out there. And she was like, but auntie, you don't understand. I mean, they are, I said, let me stop you. It's not like I'm new to black. love your passion. But listen. It is important to listen, just as my mother would tell me. I remember bumping you on my knee when they were marching, and I wished I could have gone, but I had 3 mouths to feed, and your father was away in Vietnam. All of these things make us who we are, and understanding what that struggle is about, y'all better get up and stay up, because when you don't, you lose. If you are not at the table, you're on the menu. Know that. Know that. Our next presenter is somebody who I absolutely adore. He's been a really, really good egg to me, and he doesn't even know this. I'm talking about Rabbi Black. He has been the senior rabbi of Temple Emmanuel since 2010. Rabbi Black serves as the chaplain in the Colorado House of Representatives and is past president of the Rocky Mountain Rabbinical Council. Please welcome Rabbi Black to the stage to perform Praying with Our Feet.
Thank you, Gloria. In 1965, Dr. King marched in Selma. But he didn't march alone. There were many people who marched with him, and among them was Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was a great leader, social justice advocate in our nation. And a few years ago, or 5 years ago now, I wrote this song with a dear friend of mine who unfortunately couldn't be here this afternoon, Steve Brodsky, who is our music director at Temple Emmanuel. And Rabbi Heschel marched with Dr. King on a Saturday morning. Now, Saturday mornings, rabbis are supposed to be in synagogues. Somebody said, Rabbi Heschel, why weren't you praying in synagogue? And he said, when I was with Dr. King, I was praying with my feet. And that's what this song is all about. Let us gather all together in the cold and in the heat. Make a vow that history's cruel lessons won't repeat. We will not stand idly by, watch our values die. We heed the call for justice, we are praying with our feet. Your part goes like this. Hear our footsteps on the pavement, let them echo in the street. Feel the longings of our hearts growing stronger with each beat. Oh, it's time to take a stand. We're marching hand in hand. When we heed the call for justice, we are praying with our feet. From the California coast to Selma's cruel concrete, from the towers of New York City to the fields of Kansas, wherever people are divided by justice that's one-sided. When our voices rise in protest, we are praying with our feet. Hear our footsteps on the pavement, let them echo in the street. Feel the longing in our hearts growing stronger with each beat. Oh, it's time to take a stand. We're marching hand in hand. When our voices rise in protest, we are praying with our feet. For the tired, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Homeless and helpless, renegades and refugees. Soldiers coming home to their loved ones, oh so sweet. They all march side by side when they're praying with their feet. In the classroom, in the courtroom, the executive suite. Healing of our world awaits. The task is
is incomplete. Oh, our work we may not finish, but our passion won't diminish. When we work for freedom's promise, we are praying with our feet. Sing along. Hear our footsteps on the pavement and then we go in the street. Feel the longing in our hearts growing stronger with each beat. Oh, it's time to take a stand. We're marching hand in hand. When we work for freedom's promise, we are praying with our feet. Hear our footsteps on the pavement and then echo in the street. Feel the longings in our hearts growing stronger with each beat. Oh, it's time to take a stand. We're marching hand in hand. When we work for freedom's promise, we are praying with our feet. And when our voices rise in protest, we are praying with our feet. And when we heed the call for justice, we are praying with our feet.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep this going for Rabbi Black, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Now, DU students led by Camille Moore, she's going to grace us, or they will grace us, I should say, with some of the most impactful words authored by Dr. King. In the wise words of the DU students, though, let me say this. They believe that in order to create a better future, we must continue to remember the past and the many lessons that we've gathered from it. So please welcome them as they come up to share this special rendition of their tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you for all attending this wonderful event. My name is Camille Moore. I'm a second-year law student at DU and the president of the Black Law Student Association. I hope and believe that one day this nation will live by its creed and justice will reign for all within it. We're here today to share some of the impactful quotes that we've all lived by, like to quote to ourselves. And a quote that I believe has and enables what I think should happen regarding to the hope I do have about the creed and everybody is equal is the quote where he said, "You must accept finite disappointment, but not lose infinite hope." And we're all here, we're gonna start on this side and say, introduce themselves and say their favorite quote.
Hello, I'm Ella. I'm a second year studying social legal studies and international studies. The quote I chose it because I found it that the media and the news tends to focus on the negative and overall, like, not to focus on the things that people have achieved overall since the Black Lives Matter protests last summer. And this is how it goes. I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because the truth crushed to earth will rise again. How long? Not long, because no lie can live forever. How long? Not long, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Hi, my name is Jay. And I'm currently a second-year student at the University of Denver. I'm also serving as a vice president of ASU, which stands for African Students United, and that is an affinity group at the University of Denver. I chose my Dr. King quote because I believe as a nation to truly overcome turbulent times, we need to come together as brothers and we need to unite as brothers and sisters. And here's my Dr. King quote. The beauty of genuine brotherhood and peace is more precious than diamonds or silver or gold.
Hi y'all, I'm Imani. I am a fourth-year undergrad student studying accounting and minoring in leadership. I'm also in the Colorado Women's College as well as serving on the Black Community Advisory Board on the Student Affairs Committee. I chose my MLK quote because I, in my own life, choose to believe that searching or seeking for happiness for myself is also seeking happiness for others, and that is just what I choose to believe when communicating with my community. So my quote is, "Those who are not looking for happiness are the most likely to find it, because those who are searching forget that the surest way to be happy is to seek happiness for others."
Hi everyone, my name is Courtney Skinner. I am a first-year law student here at DU and one of our 1L representatives for the Black Law Students Association. One of my favorite Dr. King quotes that really embodies a principle that I like to live out in my life is this: "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?"
All right, hi everyone, I'm Mia Ballard. I'm a second-year undergraduate student studying communication studies. I also serve as a president of our undergraduate Black Student Alliance with Ella, and I'm a member of the Black Community Advisory Board as well. And this quote for me really resonates because in humankind, every day we face challenges, and it's just important to continue through those. So the quote reads, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy."
Hi, my name is Katie Nguyen. I am also a first-year law student at DU. I am also one of the 1L Black Law Student Association representatives. And I chose this quote today because I think, especially recently, it's easy to feel like we're stuck in darkness. It feels like nothing changes, like we're in the same place maybe we were years ago. And it's important to remember what can cut through that. So the quote I chose is, "I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word." Thank you. And I just want to end with, all of us are educated, but I do fully believe what MLK said and continue to touch on. That you don't need a fancy degree, you don't need to know how to do subject-verb agreements. I still don't know how to do them. All you need is a soul generated with love and the willingness to go after what you believe. And I feel lucky to share the stage with all of you. Thank you.
Excellent job. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Excellent job. I want to alert you to something that is in your programs. There is a community service component to the program this afternoon, and it is a collaboration with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Mu Omega Omega chapter, and the University of Denver. BCI. It is a book drive for unhoused youths, K through 12. So the QR code is on your program, and on the screen, it should be coming up momentarily. If it isn't, we will make sure you get that QR program. But they are going to be taking the donations for books if you would like to participate. You see it there. So please, that would be definitely appreciated. So, yeah, absolutely. It's important. Our next performer is J.C. Futrell. He's a community activist, internationally recognized performer. He's an artist, nonprofit leader. Currently, he is the Associate Director of Youth and Community Engagement at the Denver Art Museum. And he will be performing an original poem. Ladies and gentlemen, J.C. Futrell.
Newman Center, are you with me? Are you here with me? I need your help today. It's a beautiful day out. I can hear my babies in the audience too. To Solomon and River, hi. Daddy's working right now. I see you. Okay. Hi guys. Everybody turn and wave to my kids over there and my beautiful wife sitting there. And my mom. Oh, my mom's here too. That's awesome. What a beautiful day out. How many of you all got out to Myriad today? Yeah, on one of the best weather days we've ever had, right? Like it was t-shirt weather out there. Usually we're out there bundled up and fighting off the cold and racism at the same time. It's kind of crazy. It's unfair. I've got a few things that I wanted to get off my chest, but I want to just get into it right now because of the energy in the room, and I'm so happy to be here. Can you guys help me out with a little bit of a soul clap? Can we get a little... Keep that going, just like that. Keep that going. My generation's got more rights than Miranda. Evening news on the wrong side of the camera. Where my people at? Stand up, get accounted for. Holla out, we gotta get together. Stand at City Hall. We've been denied our rights for too long. Same song, we need to organize or else. They say it's power to the people. We've been screaming, we equal. Huey Newton didn't get it, my brother. I'm the sequel. I was there for Freddie Gray the day they laid him in the grave. Then watched him burn a liquor store down in his name. We tired of pain. No time to explain. And if you don't know why I'm mad, well then you're probably to blame. Yeah, you can do that too. Y'all know poets. If y'all hear something that moves you, you can snap your fingers, right? Let's see, let's try this out. Who loves puppies? Snap your fingers, snap your fingers. If something moves you. Oh, we got cat people in the audience? Who's a cat person? There we go, they're my cat people, all right, all right. This poem that I'm gonna spit for you guys, and if you hear anything that moves you, make sure that you snap your fingers and show that energy back. I appreciate you. This piece, I was asked to perform at the Black Panthers' 40-year anniversary in Harlem, New York. It's something that I read on this particular holiday, and it's my honor to be here with you today. Thank you so much. To Dr. Jordan Fields, I know she's back there. Can we have a round of applause for her real quick? And a quick shout out to my man Bert, too. Can we give a shout out to Bert, too? Yeah. We recently had a series of art workshops at the Denver Art Museum around the theme of Afrofuturism, and we brought in local artists and kids and created some amazing work that'll be on display here coming up pretty soon, so holler at Bert about that. I am the anthem to a country without honor. I'm a social activist whose speech is only free after 9 p.m. with weekend minutes. I am the Diet Brand version of a revolutionary. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring in the stem of every crack pipe. Let the blue smoke lift until it sets off the fire alarms. In heaven, let freedom ring for the 100,000 souls trafficked into America every year, 80% of which are women. Slavery still exists. Let freedom ring. I am a failed suicide attempt. I am the scar as a constant reminder. I am peace and quiet. Let freedom ring in the canals of the lower Ninth Ward. New Orleans, where the only debris left are the living and breathing people. Let freedom ring for Nicholas Hayward, Amadou Diallo, Paul Childs, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Elijah McClain, and any other life wrongfully taken by those sworn to protect us. Let freedom ring, because I am Joe Louis's left cross that crippled Nazi Germany. I am Jesse Owens' running shoes. I am the first star that Mae Jemison wished upon. I would rather cuddle my children than allow them to be born into a life of servitude, because I am the color God painted the universe with. I make raindrops feel like falling bricks. I am LAPD's red bullseye and the malnourished mouth that inspired the free breakfast program. I am a bomb in a Baptist church. I am the struggle we. Let freedom ring in the brothels of Thailand. the world capital of child prostitution, where American businessmen write off their crimes on their tax returns because there is no more tool shed behind the old plantation. Let freedom ring in Fallujah, where Shiite Muslims would rather set their flesh on fire rather than live under Western rule. In the hamsters, Haitians and Cubans drifting to find their freedom down the barrel of a gun in Darfur, Sudan, in the hands of an 8-year-old soldier. In Uganda, let freedom ring, because I am all of the things the black community just refuses to talk about anymore. I am back to Africa. I am inequality. I am AIDS prevention, incest, and hope. I am your spook, your coon, and your BET. Uncle Tom. I am 63 cents on the dollar compared to the average wages white men make. I am the answer to the question, how are we going to lift up all of our single mothers? I feel more comfortable in calling you my than I do in calling you my brother. Because somewhere along the line I bought into the idea that the thing that we share the most in common is our indignity, but it's not. The thing that we share the most in common is our collective dream for a better today. So let freedom ring, let freedom ring, let freedom ring! Until it makes a sound we all can actually recognize. Thank you, Union Senate.
Cashing that check. That is so, so powerful. Was it not? Another round of applause. Yes. Trail, that is beautiful. It is now time for a few awards. As you see them here, they are absolutely beautiful. And with this being the first year for the MLK Day Awards program here, it is absolutely wonderful to have these recipients here, and it's going to be pretty special. So before we get to the awards, the choir is going to bring us one more beautiful song. Let's welcome them.